Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting of the Town of Sheffield Selectboard to order for October 17, 2022. This meeting is being recorded. If you want to record it, please just notify the chair. And I also would like to thank CTSB for filming this. With that, our first item of business is approval of minutes from 9/22/22.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes as written.
The second?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I'm going to kind of skip around a little bit to go with those who are here. And so, Phyllis, I'm just going to jump to you. You want to give us a voter update, please?
Okay, basically I'm just going to run down the schedule for the next couple of weeks and then interject just a couple of, I think, points. Voter registration deadline is going to be on October 29th. Vote by mail deadline is November 5th. Early voting will begin this coming Saturday, October 22nd, and will run through Friday, November 4th. That will be held during regular business hours during the week, with the exception of Wednesdays, of course, because we're close to the public. And the Saturday schedule, we will be open for 2 Saturdays, the 22nd and the 29th, from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. Saturday the 29th is the deadline to register to vote, as I just stated, and that is basically for anyone that is not already a registered voter. If someone requires a change to their party affiliation, they can feel free to come in and do that, but it's not necessary for this election as it's nonpartisan. There is a chance that the office will not be open until 5 o'clock, which is the official deadline, and we will make alternate arrangements if that is the case. So anyone interested should just either contact us ahead of time, or they can just follow instructions that'll be left probably on the front door. Yeah, that was a little... Ballots did go out. We finally received our ballots. They went out on Thursday afternoon. I can't do both of these. Thursday afternoon, and voters are receiving those ballots, and we're starting to get them back. So I would say by the end of this week, if someone has not received a ballot, they should probably contact us and see if we can do a little tracking. There is a tracking app on the Secretary of State's website called Track My Ballot, and so it will let you know when you requested it, when the ballot went out, when we received it back and logged it in. I think that's pretty much it. I'm not sure if you have any questions. There's a lot of information. I would like to encourage anyone that either knows or thinks they did not respond to their census last year, or maybe the past couple of years, or if you haven't voted in a couple of years, maybe follow up with us, because it could impact your voting status. And I would also ask that people maybe show up on election day with ID or some kind of proof of residency if they're still living here and we just don't know it. I've also had a few calls from people that have moved from other communities within the state, and your registration does not follow you. So you should probably, again, either re-register in this community or call and just inquire what the status might be. I'm not sure if there are any questions.
Are you recommending that people mail their ballots this year?
Thank you. The mail has been a little challenging recently, although they do a great job at our post office. Ballots do get logged in, so there is a tracking mechanism in place for the ballots. We have a red drop box at the front door, which can be utilized for ballot drop-off. People are still actually requesting ballots, and if they have those little postcards or they have an application, that can be placed in the black drop box where we put our general mail on the front of the building off hours. The boxes are both checked, frequently throughout the day. So I think that's about it. It's pretty easy. Or during regular business hours, you're welcome to walk in with your ballot. Absentee ballots are available now. So if anyone is going to be out of town, religious issue, health issue, and they're not going to be able to make the polls on election day, they can come in and absentee vote right now over the counter. And the deadline to do that is the day before the election at noon.
Okay. Any other questions?
No, I'm good.
Thank you, Phyllis.
You're welcome.
Everyone, once they've presented, please don't feel like you have to stay for the rest of the meeting. All right. So Let's next go to a presentation discussion regarding the Board of Health license fees, and you can also decide after that, we're going to do the update on the Southern Berkshire Health, Public Health Collaborative.
Thanks. Kathleen, 261 East Main Street, Chair of the Board of Health, and I really am only up here to introduce the person who did all this work, namely Jane Smith. If you don't, you should have.
Everybody has those.
Great. I also want to give you
I don't seem
another,
to have one.
please.
Thanks.
Good.
So want to give you several copies, actually, of this flyer. We had the fortunate having gotten several grants through the Southern Berkshire Public Health Collaborative to allow us to install at no cost child seats, car seats. And we have a supply of those. If there are people you know who need a car seat, cannot afford one, by all means contact the public health line here at Town Hall and we can get you connected to that. I want to credit Jane very wholeheartedly for all the work on this, although she did have a small team of public health committee members, but we made a number of minor changes to this, including having discovered that we had a tanning salon, which we didn't have a fee for, and a ice skating rink, which we didn't have any license fee for. So we've corrected those minor issues. But Jane, I'd be happy to have you take over.
Hi.
Hi, Jane.
For those that don't know me, I'm Jane Smith. I happen to also be a Sheffield resident over on 465 Silver Street. And thank you for putting us on the agenda today. The Board of Health is getting geared up for its annual renewals, right, for 2023, all of our license renewals. And something that's new this year is going to be that the Board of Health will be going to an online permitting through Full Circle. And in order to do that, we needed to have a fee schedule that not only was very clear, but that really reflected what the cost is of doing business for the town to provide the oversight that's required by the state. If you ever were to see all of the regulations that the Board of Health is responsible for, and Jill might have a sense of this, it's about 2 inches thick, and they're changing them all the time. So that's just a fun fact for you. What you have in front of you today is the old fee schedule. And I'm hoping that I'll be here to answer any questions, and that the Select Board can choose whether or not to approve it so that we can get moving on our annual renewals. So what you have in front of you is a chart, and it has many nice and useful parts. You'll see on the left-hand side, there's the different headings. There's a brief description. The food risk level, which I'll get into that briefly. The proposed fees are in green, and the existing fees are in grayed out. So why is there yellow? The yellow are changes that were made. And I did that so that you guys could really see clearly what the changes are, and if you have any questions, we can go ahead and do that. Just a couple things. The food risk level, there are some things that, there are some restaurants, like full-service restaurants, that need more oversight because of the nature of being a restaurant versus someone like Dollar General who's only doing retail food. So it doesn't make sense to go into Dollar General twice a year. Why not take that same time period and really focus in on the restaurants and the higher risk activities? So you will see that risk level that's just in the food section reflects a higher fee in the inspection fee. So anyway, I don't know if you want me to go through the changes. What would be the best way to do this, Renee?
I'm going to open this up. I have my own comments. I don't know if Bob or Nadine want to make any comments first.
Well, this created a lot of questions in my mind, and I did not have a chance to write them all down. So I'm not really prepared to
That's okay.
go
I'm
through
not
this
gonna
tonight.
continue,
I'm
so-
sorry.
Bob, do you have any comments? If not, I will.
Not at this point, no.
I have to say I found this, very well presented. There were a number of things I couldn't understand, and I did write up a number of questions. And I think, just focusing very quickly, I didn't understand some of the proposed permit fees. Some of these fees actually, the actual permit to do business belongs to the Board of Health, like lodging and bed and breakfast.
You mean the Board of Selectmen?
Excuse me, I didn't.
That's okay.
Yeah. Click, Board of Selectmen. So I'm not sure what a second proposed permit fee is, and I'm not expecting any answers today. I didn't understand in some cases, just picking up the recreational camps, what the proposed inspection fee, how it varied when it was up to 5 hours on each of them. I have a lot of questions, and you can see from my scribble that there's quite a few. So what I think would be best, I don't believe that the board, I'm certainly not in a position to approve anything tonight. What I would like to ask is, what is your time frame for needing this for the full circle implementation?
Just if we could have it at your next meeting, have the comments for next meeting, I'm happy to turn it around. And I'm also happy to send maybe a list of some of the changes and why some of these things have been changed, either based on the comments that you have or just generally highlighting what the difference is from the old fee schedule versus the new fee schedule is.
It might be a better use of time to have you meet with Rhonda and one of the selectmen, rather than, I think that might, rather than us back and forth questions and such. And we'll get our questions to Rhonda. And Nadine, are you shaking your head like you're volunteering?
Yeah, I am. I would be happy to sit in.
Okay, all right. So I'm going to, our next meeting, let's try and target to have this done by then, if that works with all of your schedules.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rhonda, just schedule with Jane, and I'll make myself available. You two
Okay.
are harder to schedule than I am.
Okay, does that sound good?
That sounds great.
Good, okay. Do you have anything else you would like to update us on tonight?
Well, so the quarterly report will be coming out this month, so I don't have it for you, but the collaborative is busy doing clinics. In fact, we have a clinic tomorrow. We have 180 people registered at the school for flu bivalent, high dose and normal dose. We're working with the town to schedule an evening one at a place to be determined. I think we're going to see that happen in early November because we want to make sure that we're able to serve the working families. And so we have a lot of great things that are happening. We have an assessment that's going on statewide that we're now entering our third phase, and our third and most painful phase but it's really the state looking at what it is that we are doing as a collaborative, and then making sure that the towns have resources to do what is they're supposed to do. A perfect example is that lodging permit. So the Board of Health is supposed to be inspecting lodging and issuing permits. So there's some things that a lot of towns have never done before, including Sheffield, and this is an opportunity even with the permit fees. Maybe it ends up being that that we still permit them, but we'll look at the fees so that we're not double hitting people. Do you know what I mean? But there are a lot of requirements, and I think Sheffield will be part of the 12-town collaborative, and there might be, for the first time, state resources available to help plug in. Good example would be housing, right? We don't have a steady housing inspector, so that might be something that the town could benefit greatly for. There's a bunch of other examples as well, and I'm happy to go over that with the board if anyone is interested.
Well, this is great, Jane, because I know that the state has really been demanding a lot more of small boards of health from the time when I was on the Board of Health, where we tried to do our job, but it was nowhere near as onerous as it is now. And this is terrific. I hope we can, if you have a digital on this, maybe we could put it up on our website. I mean, to get a free car seat and get it fitted properly with all the young children we seem to have in town would be terrific. So we'll have the three of you get together. Rhonda, do you want to add anything?
No.
And just on that car seat, the type of outreach that we're able to do with our public health nurse, Jill Sweet, is like she is going to be at the library to meet with foster families, right? So there's a very specific need population who could benefit from these programs. So we're really hoping to not only meet the identified needs, but we'll be back after the flu clinic season's over and also be asking the towns. We have a little bit of a window of opportunity to really focus in and find out what the towns really are in need of, and Sheffield will certainly be part of that conversation.
Great. And as soon as you have the clinic scheduled, if we can get that date to Rhonda, we can get it to the senior center, and because it has not been easy to find places that are doing both shots at one time. It's been hard. But it would be great.
The only thing I would emphasize is that I'm happy to do that, and we're changing to emphasize a little bit more the pre-registration. We were in Great Barrington today. We only had 45 appointments, and we ended up vaccinating over 95 people, right? And so that is that's a lot of people in 2 hours. So we want to get everyone vaccinated that wants to get vaccinated in a way that's the easiest on everyone.
Great. Thank you. Any more questions for Jane? Comments?
Oh, good. Thanks.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Okay. So next up, we have a presentation on the early college and internship program at Southern Berkshire Regional School District. Hi. If you would just introduce yourself.
Hello. Lindy Marcel.
Okay.
I'm the new early college internship coordinator at Southern Berkshire Regional School District. And I came to make sure that all of the towns in the school district are aware that Mount Everett is now a designated early college. So the Early College Initiative is something that the state of Massachusetts has made funding available for. And the school, which is really a high school program, but it's a district-wide process, has been designated what's referred to as a wall-to-wall school, which means 100% of high school graduates will graduate with having taken college credits and earned college credits by the time they graduate. So this is the first year of implementation. It just started this fall. So our first group of seniors is in college courses right now for the first time. It also comes with a decent amount of state funding. So overall, for just the implementation phase, it's about $1 million of funding going to the students. And that's going to cover an internship program as well for students who might not be interested in going on to get a college degree after high school. There's a lot of workforce training opportunities embedded with this. So part of the reason I'm here now is on October 26th, between 6 and 7:30, there's a community visioning event. So community members, families, people who own businesses, any members of the community are invited to help put together the vision of the program and ultimately impact what courses are offered or what values the students are meant to embody as early college students. So I have a couple flyers. The copy machine at Mount Everett was broken when I left today, so I only have a few copies. But my contact information is also on the back, so any questions anyone has afterwards, they can be referred to me. Do you have any questions about the early college program?
I'm just wondering, how many seniors do you have participating now?
So it's semester by semester. So by spring, by the end of spring semester, it will be 48 seniors, which is, I believe, 100% of the seniors are graduating. Classes are Around 45 students now. So all of the students will have taken at least one college class by the end of spring semester.
And the $1 million grant, how long does that run?
That's for what's referred to as the implementation phase. So that's 3 years, but there's more funding expected after that.
Thank you.
They're sort of, the way the grants are structured, they're for themed, but it's all under the early college fund code. So for example, I just submitted a grant for another $50,000 for resources for the next semester.
Thank you.
The internship part, do you have any idea what the percentage is of students that are taking advantage of the internships?
There is an existing internship program now, which is run between the guidance department and some of the teachers, but we're, in combination with early college, we're going to be kind of accelerating that. Right now, there are 13 students who are signed up for internships. That's more than most years, but we're hoping that the percentage of students who get out into the workplace is more than half by the time the implementation's done.
Thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit about what type of internships these students are participating in?
Yeah. So we're working with the Mass Hire Board to identify industry need regionally first, and so we're prioritizing that. And the second way is just student interest. So when students say that they're interested in pursuing a certain career path, we do our best to connect them with a workplace that's either aligned or really comparable to what they're trying to do later in life. So emphasis on local, but then looking broader if there's nothing locally. One example would be someone interested in astrophysics working with a alumni who's actually working on, astrophysics projects.
Good. Any other questions, Rhonda?
No, thanks.
Thank you. You're going to leave a few of those with us?
Yeah, or should I leave
Yeah.
them right here?
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone in the audience have any questions?
No, I just was hoping there was a copy of that left. If I have an internship question. Or just give me your
She's coming
email.
in tomorrow. I'll give her.
Thank you for joining us. Don't feel the need to stay the rest of the meeting, okay? All right. So let's go back up to 2. Discussion possible action regarding Select Board license fees for 2023. We have these, and Rhonda, do you have any general recommendations?
I would recommend that you keep them at what they are. There's really no reason to increase. There is one that I would like to add, which would be a late fee,
Oh, interesting.
and
Okay.
I would like to add that at $50. We have a couple repeat offenders, and hopefully this will.
So just to walk us through that, this will go out, if it's approved tonight, it will go out, and when are fees to be paid by, and when would somebody incur that late fee if they then later wanted the license?
After January 1st, the late fee would go into effect.
And of course, this wouldn't apply to anybody who was new to town or?
Correct.
All right. And are we still practicing checking against the tax?
Yes.
Okay, so if anybody has any taxes due, we get that under control. I think that's worked very well. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Would that late fee be for all licenses?
Yes.
So, Board, what would you like to do?
I'll make a motion that we approve the license fees as presented to us tonight.
I'll second that.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve the license fees as presented with a late fee if they're not renewed by January 1st, late fee being $50. Any further discussion or comments? No. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Rhonda. So, Bob, you are up with the update on the highway garage.
Okay, so we have an estimate here from Jim Kelly for the forestry work that needs to be done on the Berkshire School Road property, the proposed site for the new highway garage. Do you want to go through the whole estimate, or?
Have we all had a chance to read it?
I did take a look at it today,
Yeah.
so I
Any
don't,
questions about the fees or the structure, or?
seems very
I
straightforward.
think this is at $1,200 total, if I've done my math correct.
I think I came up with 9.
9 for the first and 300 for the second.
Oh,
I was just using
yeah.
15, I'm not sure
Yeah.
what the senior work-off is.
It's still at 15. Yep.
Yeah, is it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Rhonda, do we have to do, what,
But do we have to what?
do we have to do, on something like this, do we have to do the state minimum, whatever it is, the going,
It's under $1,000. Oh,
I'm just thinking of the state rate that we have to use on all of our contracts for like, construction work and
She's
highway
thinking
work.
prevailing rate.
Prevailing wage. Do we have to do that?
I would guess that what you're paying him under number 1 is at least prevailing, and the other is a senior work-off program that he's going to work for us, so.
Okay. Do we know if that, we're not in a situation where we're going to have to go out to bid on this?
For this, no.
Yeah, okay. So,
So I'll make a motion that we approve the proposed bid, sorry, thank you, from Jim Kelly for the timber work on Berkshire School Road.
I'll second that.
any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So he's going to come back with, he's taking this out to bid too with, because he's doing the prep work. And then he's going to take it out to bid with the loggers?
Well, the town will put it out to bid, and he will oversee the bids.
Okay, all right. I'm just wondering if he has a sample bid, if he's ever done this, so he has a sample bid, so we don't have to start from.
I can ask.
Yeah, okay, all right. Do you want to give us anything else on the highway garage, any other updates?
No, I think that's pretty much it, other than the designer selection committee will be meeting
November 1st.
November 1st.
And we did get a couple of bids,
We had 2.
so we're ready to go forward with,
Yeah.
excellent, all right. Any other comments on that, or we're going to move on? All right, discussion action regarding snow plowing proposals. Rhonda?
So we put a request out for proposals to work for the highway independent contractors to help us with the plowing. We received one back from Tyler Hills, and it would be for $110 per hour for the truck driver and sander if we need it.
And Dave is okay with that?
Yes.
Okay.
I think Tyler worked for us last year, not very often, but he did do a little bit for us last
I
year.
make a motion that we accept Tyler Hill's bid for snow plowing at $110 per hour.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
So appointment of permanent part-time police officer. Rhonda, please.
So Matthew O'Sullivan has finished his year's probation, and the chief would like to keep him as a permanent part-time police officer. So this would be the time to give him the 3-year appointment to be in line with the others, if you so choose.
I make a motion that we appoint Matthew O'Sullivan as a permanent part-time police officer with a term of 3 years.
Second?
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next, we have discussion and action regarding the general bylaws and the fees that we have gone over. Anything you want to add on this, Rhonda, before we start?
No.
Okay, so just to kind of recap, when the general bylaws recodification was accepted in April, there was a section of that that required the select board to go over and set all of the fees that were in their jurisdiction, because the specific dollar amount at the recommendation of general counsel for most of the general bylaws, the dollar amount was taken out. And there were a couple of sections put in that would be the default if specific fees were not set for certain sections like alarm systems and animals, etc. So we have spent time on this and done this. And then I think the next step is that we need to present this at a public hearing and post it so that people can see this in advance and make comment on it. And so have we set a date yet for our public hearing?
November 7th.
November 7th, all right, and that will be at 7 p.m.
Yes.
And we will get that posted with all of this. We'll take public comment. We'll discuss this as much as the public wishes, answer questions, etc. And they'll either be adjusted or they'll be adopted. And then after that, I think they have to be posted for a particular period of time before they can go into effect. We are still waiting for the Attorney General to get back to us. So we're kind of on two separate tracks. Eventually it'll come together and we'll go from there. Rhonda, do I have that pretty much in line?
Yes.
Okay. So I know that one of the questions was confinement of animals, and we now have that definition. So I don't know if the board wanted to look at this again and make any changes. And when we post this, we should also put if we have elected to provide another town officer with the authority on this for enforcement, such as the alarm systems or the police. We should probably also note that so people know who is the authority on that, who is doing the enforcement and the actual issuing of those alarm permits. So what would the board like to do?
Well, what do we need to do? Do we need to
We should adopt,
these as presented?
yes, as we've hashed them out.
Okay, so I make a motion that we adopt the bylaw and fees as we have, we'll present them to the community.
And we'll have the public hearing, and then we reserve the right to change.
Yep.
Rhonda, are you good with that?
Yes.
I'm saying a little, no, you're good with that? Okay. Thank you, Nadine, for the motion.
Second.
Is there any further discussion on this? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, let's move on to the next item. We have a one-day alcohol license request.
Yeah, and I had another request about that, just to change the date.
Could you please come up to the microphone and please introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. I'm Simon McTeague. I live in Sheffield, and I'm having putting on a show at Dewey Hall with a few other local musicians, a small folk show. And we put in a request for a one-day alcohol license for October 28th, and I'd like to request to change it to November 11th.
November 11th?
November 11th, yeah.
So I'll make a motion that we approve a one-day alcohol license for Dewey Hall and for a event on November 11th.
Second.
We have all the insurances and everything, Rhonda?
We do.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Thank you, Simon.
Our next item is discussion regarding Conservation Commission consultant. Rhonda, could I ask you to take the lead on this, please?
Sure. So the board, excuse me, has discussed hiring a conservation consultant to help the Conservation Commission take a look at some of their applications and processes. So it's somebody who would be knowledgeable. The person that has submitted the proposal used to work for DEP, and he's been a great help to the town over the years. He now has his own business, consulting business, and so the Board of Selectmen talked about this at their working meeting, but you didn't take a formal vote to hire Mark Stinson as the consultant for the Conservation Commission.
So I'll make a motion that we hire Mark Stinson to be a Conservation Commission consultant with the schedule of fees as attached to his proposal.
Second.
I think this is a really nice move because the Conservation Commission asked for this assistance
They did.
with their last year budget, and I don't think the town was in a position to move on that, so this is very helpful. All right, any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I would just like to say I think this will be a great asset to especially new people serving because Mark is an excellent educator.
And he's been very helpful on a lot of things, most recently on Weetog Road. All right. The next item is discussion, possible action regarding extension of the Complete Streets project. We have that extension
We do.
now, and this is another situation where the firm that bid this bid it very generously. So we've completed almost everything that we had said we would do, and we have money left over. So the two things that we had talked about and gotten approval on were kind of the next two on the list, which is to do a curb cut in front of the senior center where you come in. It really isn't inviting for anyone who's with a wheelchair. You have to go all the way to the end and then make that. So I don't know if we're going to be able to get that done this year. The hope is yes. And the second one is to look at and evaluate reconcreting, but not with bricks, the walkway in the village center here in Sheffield. We have to see how the money plays out. We also got an extension to June 30th of next year.
Great.
So we may get a lot done under this grant. We do have some more work to do on Berkshire School Road, and we'll go from there. Okay, so I just want to make sure that everybody was on board with this and in fact behind it.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Halloween update. Rhonda?
So the trunk or treat event, I just want to remind residents, will take place here in the parking lot and in the town hall on, Friday, October 28th. I believe that's 4 to 6. And then the annual trick or treat hours are on Monday, the 31st, from 5 to 7, both here in Sheffield and in Ashley Falls.
Okay, and our next item is discussion, possible action regarding request to close roads in Ashley Falls for Halloween. So I think we've all had a chance to read this.
Yeah.
They want to do it from 4 to 7. The hours that we've adopted are 5 to 7. I'm not sure what roads they want to close. Pat, do you have any idea? And would you do me a favor?
Around the village green.
Would you do me a favor and just come up to the microphone so people at home can hear?
Yeah, Pat Levine, 261 East Main. I'm not sure, but I think it's probably around the village green, somewhere in that area, which maybe just 2 legs of that, so one could continue having traffic. I'm not sure. Who made the request?
So that is potentially, I mean, we'll have to find out for sure. I don't want to put you on the spot. But that is 7A.
Yeah.
And that is part of Ranapo.
Yes, part of Ranapo and part of 7A, I would say.
And what about East Main?
No, well, I'm sorry.
You know, that's okay. I don't
Yeah,
want to put you on the spot.
it's not really Pat's
No,
request.
you were just here, and I thought if you...
Yeah, no.
Okay,
right, no.
so we'll get in touch with Maggie or with Tricia.
Actually, I don't think we need to, I personally don't think we should be closing roads for Halloween. And I also don't think that the times should be different for trick or treat in Ashley Falls as it is in Sheffield. I know we always have a police officer available, one in Ashley Falls, one in Sheffield. And, what if somebody in Sheffield decided they wanted to close Boardman Street for trick or treat?
I don't disagree with you on the hours. I think our hours were
Yeah.
set.
Yeah.
Okay?
And I just don't think we should be arbitrarily closing roads for Halloween.
I don't think we could close 7A, even if we wanted to.
It's not our road. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I think, families just have to, trick or treat with their children and keep them off to the sides of the road and warn the citizens that it is trick or treat between 5 and 7 and to travel with caution through the more populated areas where.
So you, which I didn't know, you said that there is a police officer so where does that police officer usually?
Well, they patrol the.
They patrol.
They patrol.
Okay.
They're not just located in one spot, but there is one always in Ashley Falls and one here in Sheffield as well for Halloween, so.
Okay, so,
I'm not in favor of closing roads in Ashley Falls.
okay. I think that, and Bob, you feel the same way?
I pretty much do,
I
yes.
don't have a problem with that. And our trick or treat hours are 5 to 7. Now, I'm just trying to remember what they do for their Christmas lighting, because they have a gathering at the village center there with the tree. And
The road's not closed.
We do not close the roads.
we're not closing roads. But does anything happen there? They're just responsible for managing their own safety? I've been down there for so many times,
Yeah.
but I just don't remember anything special.
No.
It's just people manage their own safety.
Correct.
Okay, so could we then have a motion to deny, or at least let them know that we're not going to allow this
So moved.
request?
Second.
Okay, I think we just did that. Is there any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Board member items. Nadine?
I just would like to say that there was a really fun event at the Senior Center on Friday night. The Friends of the Sheffield Senior Center hosted a murder mystery. They provided a free lasagna dinner. It was very well attended. I think we had close to 50 people there. And the murderer wasn't even in the room. We had a wonderful time.
It was a remote murder?
Well, it was someone that was discussed in the play and didn't have a character. Yep.
Interesting.
It was-
I've seen the locked doors.
I've never
the person
seen one quite like
inside,
that before.
But
Yep.
this is kind of special, all
It was
right.
it was a fun event, and I really encourage people to, take a look at the schedule and come on out and join us. It was a blast.
Excellent. I do, since you mentioned the senior center, we are still working very hard on that van. We have to go through one of the folks that's on the state license, and vehicles are very difficult to get right now. I'm not sure why certain vehicles are getting low interest rates, but what we want, it's very difficult to find, so that continues to be worked on, hopefully.
Well, we'll keep our fingers
soon.
crossed.
Yeah. Bob, how about you?
Nothing other than to wish everybody a happy Halloween. Be safe, be careful, especially the drivers.
Right.
Hopefully we'll all have a good time and have a few pieces of candy too.
Okay, all right. I have no items. Rhonda, how about you?
The only thing that I have is just to ask anyone who's interested in donating any candy for the trunk or treat event. We would be grateful to accept some here in the office. We'll be handing out candy downstairs on the first floor.
Okay, great. I don't think we have any more public with us, so I don't think there's any public comments. So I would take a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.